The conflict between Iran and the United States is one of the most complex and long-running geopolitical tensions in the modern world. It is driven by ideological differences, regional power struggles, nuclear ambitions, and deep mistrust built over decades. In recent years, this conflict has intensified due to Iran's internal crisis, military actions, and U.S. responses in the Middle East. Iran's economic situation and government policies. Iran is facing a severe economic crisis, largely due to its own domestic policies and long-term international sanctions. Government control over key industries, lack of transparency, corruption, and heavy spending on military and regional proxy groups have weakened the economy. U.S. and Western sanctions, especially those related to Iran's nuclear program, have sharply reduced oil exports, collapsed the Iranian currency, increased inflation, and caused widespread unemployment. As a result, ordinary Iranian citizens face rising food prices, fuel shortages, and declining living standards. Protests in Iran and brutal suppression, economic hardship, and political dissatisfaction have led to large-scale protests across Iran. These protests are not only about prices but also about freedom, governance, and human rights. The Iranian government has responded with extreme force, using security forces and militias to suppress dissent. Reports from human rights organizations suggest that thousands of protesters have been killed, and many more arrested, tortured, or sentenced harshly. Internet shutdowns and media censorship are used to hide the scale of the crackdown. Iran blames the U.S. and Israel. Instead of addressing internal issues, Iranian leadership has repeatedly blamed the United States and Israel, claiming that foreign powers are instigating unrest to destabilize the country. While the U.S. and Israel deny direct involvement in protests, Iran uses this narrative to justify repression and rally nationalist sentiment. Strait of Hormuz and military drills. Iran has attempted to conduct military drills near the Strait of Hormuz, one of the world's most important shipping routes through which nearly one-fifth of global oil trade passes. Any disruption in this region can severely affect global energy supplies. The United States warned Iran to avoid unsafe or provocative actions that could threaten international shipping. In response to Iran's drills, the U.S. conducted its own military exercises and deployed naval forces and aircraft carrier strike groups in the Middle East to deter escalation and protect trade routes. Trump administration and nuclear negotiations. Under the Trump administration, U.S. policy toward Iran has been firm and confrontational. While back-channel negotiations and indirect talks continue, no concrete agreement has been reached. The U.S. has clearly stated that Iran cannot be allowed to continue an unchecked nuclear program. From Washington's perspective, negotiation is possible only if Iran limits its nuclear activities. Otherwise, military options remain on the table. Risk of military escalation. Iran has warned that if the U.S. strikes its nuclear facilities, it could block the Strait of Hormuz. However, past conflicts, especially confrontations involving Israel, have raised doubts about Iran's actual military effectiveness. In previous exchanges, Iran's ballistic missiles failed to hit key targets, and its air defense system struggled against Israeli fighter jets. Analysts also note that Israel's military capabilities are strengthened by steady supplies of advanced ammunition and components, largely sourced through global supply chains, with China playing a significant role in manufacturing critical parts. Impact on the global economy. If a direct war between Iran and the U.S. begins, the global economy would face serious consequences. Oil prices could surge, shipping insurance costs would rise, and supply chains could be disrupted worldwide. Developing countries would suffer the most due to energy price shocks, while global markets would face uncertainty and instability. Conclusion. The Iran-USA conflict is not just a regional issue but a global concern. Iran's economic mismanagement, harsh repression of its people, and aggressive military posture have increased tensions, while the U.S. seeks to contain nuclear risks and protect global trade routes. With negotiations stalled and military posturing increasing, the situation remains fragile. It will be interesting and crucial to see whether Iran and the United States choose diplomacy over escalation, as the cost of conflict would be felt far beyond the Middle East.